So Chris, we're, as I mentioned, just about a month out, I believe, from the completion of the men's sexual mastery group training container that you were a part of. So checking in with where you're at now and looking back a few months past, what has shifted for you in life since beginning the MSM training?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think I'm not trying to escape from myself as much anymore. Um, the main reason why I joined was to kind of re-establish my relationship with my sexuality and to channel that energy differently. And I was looking for a way to, like, historically in my past, my sexual energy was compartmentalized into porn use, which was acquainted with like secrecy, shame, and a feeling of like compartmentalization from like the rest of my life. And I didn't feel like an integrated person because of that. And I didn't feel like I had the tools to um, decompartmentalize that part of my life. And so I just kind of had an intuition of like people um, who seemed very embodied, and I could sense their integrity. And so when I saw Ben's like posts and stuff, I was like, holy shit, this dude is like talking about these same struggles that he's had in his life. And he's bringing this energy that feels very coherent and like in integrity. And I was like, wow, like, and he's talking about it from a spiritual lens, and that this energy can actually be transmuted into like creative endeavors. And so I was like, what the heck is this about? Like, it felt very aligned at that time, and has continued to feel aligned. So yeah, that's kind of what drew me to it initially. And so what's shifted has been, I really feel like I now have tools to transmute the energy in a way that's constructive, and that I'm not actually relying on, the orgasmic experience anymore to get through the day. So it's been hugely helpful in a lot of ways.
Love that. Congratulations, brother. And I'd love to double click on something you mentioned there of an old pattern of trying to escape yourself and this compartmentalization of certain aspects of sexuality and the desire to really feel integrated in that wholeness. And so, has that relationship with escape shifted for you at all? And similarly, have you felt an integration or a decompartmentalization of certain aspects of your sexuality?
Dude, absolutely. And it's funny because like I'm still getting myself familiarized with like the ideas of like eroticism as it pertains to like the holistic parts of life. I'm very much a thinker, so I love ideas to help me like contain these things. But um, interestingly enough, it came more so through the slowing down process and the meditation and the Qigong. I didn't realize that part of why I was so reliant on porn and ejaculation or masturbation, which I now call self pleasure, because the etymology, and the words do matter. Um, but yeah, and it's less tied to shame. But yeah, I think that that was where my breakthrough really occurred, was through, yeah, commit myself to slowing down. Um, like for example, I'm parked at this place right now, and I've come here, 5 days a week right now, and just stopping to meditate and look at like, be in nature and enjoy the view is like, that is a crucial part of being in my integrity sexually. And I just didn't expect that when I came into the course, that it would be the breath work and the meditation and the Qigong that was kind of the most useful component of it, in addition to like the accountability from other men.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that the piece around slowing down and the presence in it, what you spoke to with those practices, meditation and qigong and breath work, all of those, in my understanding and experience, allow us to really come back into ourselves and to come into our body and out of our head and check back in with what's alive right here and now. And
Mm.
that's so crucial in the path of integration.
Mm.
Bring all these parts together. And so I love hearing you speak to the value in those practices, which might, from an outside's perspective, not seem directly related to sexuality and sexual energy, but what it sounds like you've discovered and are putting into practice is the interrelatedness of all of these pieces, and how crucial slowing down, coming back into the self and into our center is in realizing and embodying integrity in all aspects of life.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
So within the practices and the lectures and the group calls and all these different aspects of the program, what did you find most challenging, or even within your own journey of over those 2 months?
Mm. I mean, it's funny that one thing that this was challenging, and yeah, what I was trying to say here. The discipline of um sitting with the really heightened sexual energy, like, talking weeks or months into no fap, or just like, retaining semen. There's a lot of like, it really shifts your internal state, and there's a lot more energy that I experienced to like, it's like that energy has to be channeled into constructive creative pursuits. And so really, it's like, you guys talk about like hitting the gas pedal through this training, and it really does feel like that, like the what's available to me internally, in that consistency and the discipline, of using the practices and the disciplines, and then retaining semen is just like, it's powerful. And so just getting to that point and then experiencing that internal shift, that was probably one of the challenges of like, okay, now here's all this extra energy, like what do I want to do with this? So yeah, I think just building more of an infrastructure of like other disciplines, like for me, like my work and like what I'm passionate about. Like I'm a very ADHD kind of person, so I really like to have um yeah, like a clear path in terms of like where I'm investing my creative energy. So I think building more of a structure around that is something I had to like, was a growth edge for me, because I had all this extra energy and I was like, what the heck do I do with this?
Mm. Yeah, that really resonates. Appreciate you speaking to that. The challenge that's actually there of enhancing and amplifying our own internal energy, which is ironic, I think, for many people, because there seems to be an energy deficit for many, many people moving through the world today. And this idea of in increasing energy seems like, well, of course I want that. And what I hear you speaking to is the challenge that can arise from that. When we increase our internal energy, it actually brings things to the surface. And if we don't have somewhere productive to channel that and to apply that, then it can create all sorts of other challenges for us. And so it sounds like you've been able to apply this energy in ways that are really constructive and productive for you. And that's our intention with the training. One of the primary intentions is to empower each and every man to reach his full potential. And it's continually fascinating and awe-inspiring for me how much our sexual energy is that driving force for us. And when we learn to increase it and then channel it towards our purpose and mission, magic can happen. Does that feel true for you?
Totally, dude. Totally. Yeah, I was listening to someone talk yesterday. It was like, not it wasn't even related to sexual mastery entirely. It was more about like UFOs and some other consciousness and stuff, and life force, and how sexual energy is so powerful. And it was kind of in some conspiratorial topic, but so I won't go into that. But I basically was realizing that like, um, for thousands of years, it's been known that our sexual energy, that ability to literally create life from a spiritual perspective, holds so much power. And because that aspect of my life had been cloaked in shame, I wasn't even able to like examine it or look at it and say like, what could be improved here? What could be changed here? Or in what ways does this parallel, other parts of my life that possess energy? It was just this thing that I didn't even have the tools to look at. So now, for example, I just like ate some ice cream before this call. That's one thing where it's like a ejaculation type experience. It like gets your blood sugar super high. It's like, it's and I'm trying to like start fasting right now. And it's these little things that like there's like after the fast today, I felt like a lot of heightened energy. And then I had this, ice cream before the call, to like calm my nerves a little bit. And then now I can see it's things like that where there's a parallel between like the spiritual practice of like what you consume in with your food or how you spend your day. Are you connecting with nature? Are you doing breath work? Are you, other parts of my life that are equally spiritual? I can now draw that parallel to my sexual life as well, and the
Mm.
energy that can either be cultivated or wasted there. So that's one huge takeaway I've had, is just like realizing a more holistic picture of like sexuality, my own sexuality, and how shame can really compartmentalize and like not give me the full access to like who I actually am authentically. But when I'm living in integrity, it like gives me more access to that.
Mm. Yeah, potent, brother. Well said.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, the tendency to numb out or dissociate or leak and drain our energy is
Mhm.
another really common aspect of, like I was speaking to before, this heightened energy can actually be uncomfortable
Mm,
and unfamiliar. And the
mm,
unfamiliar is often uncomfortable for 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 all of us. And that awareness that I hear and see you bringing to all these different aspects of life, hey, not just with what would be considered directly sexual practices, but what are the other ways in which I might be leaking energy or numbing out, and how is that really affecting my overall health, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual? So,
yeah. Bro, I love that you guys had a module on that because it really tied up a lot of those like thoughts that I was having of like, okay, I'm experiencing all this breakthrough through these not particularly like I never considered like breath work, related to my sexual nature. And then there's a whole module like dedicated to like energy leaks and stuff, and other practices that aren't explicitly sexual. And I was like, oh my God, this is exactly like what I hoped I would get from this course, is like a more holistic picture. So, and the spiritual components too. So
mm,
really neat stuff.
yeah, thank you for that reflection. I'm glad it was valuable and landed. And yeah, it is such a holistic approach, and we've endeavored to make the most comprehensive program out there because, as you've spoken to, it's all interrelated and everything's connected. And if our mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual health is out of alignment, then it's going to directly impact our life force and our sexual energy, and vice versa. So yeah, I love that reflection. And along those lines, did this training meet the expectations that you came in with? And did you receive what you hoped you would, or what you have now discovered was actually what you needed?
It was more that, I'm one who really, I get off to the analytical understanding side of things. There's a dopamine aspect of that is very real. And so that's another proclivity I have, is to learn. But this course is more focused on embodiment and practice. And yeah, ironically, that's what I needed most. I mean, probably expectedly, but it's not what I wanted most from the course, but it's like what I got from the course was more than I bargained for. And yeah, it really, I wouldn't even say confronted me, because the accountability and the support of other non-judgmental men who are all in on their own journeys is supportive. It's not confrontational in any way. And so to be invited to do these things and to be at that level of discipline and accountability felt like an invitation. So I really, suffice it to say, I appreciated how practice focused it was, and that, yeah, it was really like a level of support and brotherhood towards really challenging and time consuming practices that I had never been in a container like that before. So that aspect is really neat.
Mm. Yeah. That somatic experience and the embodiment that comes from that is I think what many men are where there's opportunity for more of in many of us, myself included. The mental is it's a comfortable place to reside in, and there's no shortage of information out there to consume. And so I appreciate you speaking to the value that you found and really bringing it into the body, into that lived felt experience. All right, brother. So we're coming up near the end of our time here, just about 5 more minutes. If you could sum up your experience and share a message with any men out there who might be curious about this program and feeling a calling within them to dive a little deeper into these topics, what message do you have for them?
That you are not your shame as it pertains to your sexual energy, or how you've dealt with that in the past, or how it's felt like it's held the reins on you, or something that you've relied upon as a substance. Um, that there are brothers and practices that will allow you to integrate in a non-judgmental environment, truly. And there's going back to the spiritual component, there are many spiritual containers um, that try to and want to, and in some cases effectively address the issue that I was facing, which was relying on stimulation and porn and ejaculation to maintain homeostasis, or to get through the day, to ease stress, to feel okay ultimately. And I tried a lot of those containers. I tried many men's groups in my life. I've tried AA or SAA, for porn. And it's something that I've tried counseling, therapy, and all that's been helpful. Actually, a lot of it has been helpful, but ultimately the focus on brotherhood and actionable discipline, and doing that in a supportive container where we're actually going through practices that integrate that compartmentalized part of my life into the holistic part of my life, that to me is the most valuable format that I've experienced. So yeah, don't let your shame be the final voice in your life, if you can relate to that struggle at all. And there are brothers who want to support you, and there are ways to integrate your sexual energy into a more constructive, creative, more authentic version of you that doesn't have to hide. So that's what I would say to people considering.
Mm, beautiful. Thank you for that, brother. It's been nice to drop in with you one-on-one in this way, and looking forward to seeing you on Thursday. If you're
Yes,
able to make that call, maybe we'll sprinkle in a little discussion around the spiritual aspects.
amazing, brother.
Yeah. Any final words before we sign off here?
Just thank you. Thank you to the guys, and yeah, just super grateful.
Yeah. Us too, brother. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate you saying yes to the Men's Sexual Mastery Training Program and showing up for yourself and for your brothers this day and every day. Really feel you, and grateful to have you as part of the community.
Thank you, Hawks. Appreciate it, brother.
Yeah. Wishing you a blessed day.
Likewise.
Much love, brother. Bye.
Peace.